All right. Well, hey, everyone. Happy Monday. It is Coach Monday. My name is Dee Corchin, and always happy to come together with Coaches Up for Change for our Monday night team time. Coming here to learn, to grow, learn how to move ourselves as individuals and our businesses forward. And that's actually what we're going to talk about, really preparing yourself and your business and preparing for 2022, which is hard to believe. So it's Monday night, it's December 6th. Many of us are just coming back from the business integration and growth conference, the big conference. If you were there and you had a blast, maybe post a takeaway in the comments. And as always, we know our community, what we do together is powerful. So if it means a lot to you, do a screenshot of this, post it on social media. You know, a lot of people would love to be a part of a mission like this. So we love to spread the word. And we like to start out, especially on the first Monday night of the new month, celebrating the month prior. And I did a great post, actually not a great, I didn't do a great post. I did a post sharing about how great you guys have been in terms of how many people you're helping and people who are reaching new ranks. And the growth is incredible. And we had one new leadership rank, and Michelle and Glenn Levy, and she reached fully integrated business coach. So she is a regional director, now an integrated regional director, Michelle Levy. And this is actually put a 1 in the comments if reaching FIBIC is something that you would like. That's a goal of yours to achieve that. It is a rank that many of us want, but actually is one when we talk about shifting from transactional to transformational leadership, one that really requires sometimes often us to look at ourselves and maybe do things a little different. And it's been fun to watch Michelle's journey. And she shared a few weeks ago how she was shifting and having more conversations, and more coaches were coming on, and now she's helped lead them to senior coach. So Michelle, if you'll just take a few minutes with us and kind of let us know what this journey has looked like for you, maybe some specific actions and mindset changes that you've had.
Thanks, Dee. It's such an honor, honestly, to talk to all of you, because I learned so much from every single one of you every week on these calls. But some of the major things that have happened, I almost made FIBIC about 5 months ago. But the difference between then and now is huge in terms of the way I think about my business. Because the first time when I first started, it was all about rank. It was all about getting something, like chasing that trophy, right? And so I wasn't really working with my people, my wonderful coaches and clients, the way that I really should have. Honestly, just being transparent, it was really about me. It was about, what could I get? What could I do? How could I get them to do what they needed to do so that I could get what I wanted, right? And I still love them. I cared about them, tremendously, but that self-driven part of me was really kind of taking over in a lot of ways. And I really am very saddened by my behavior now, looking back on it, I learned a lot. And I'm so still grateful, like Melanie's still my friend and on my team. And you know what I mean? There's so much grace has been given to me from my coaches because we're all learning, So none of us are perfect, and we're going to need to extend grace to one another. And I'm so grateful that many, many of them have. So I was doing some habit finders work in a coaching group. And I really started to understand, even though we talk about it a lot, that how my thinking was getting in my own way. And also that I really just needed to see people for who they were, where they're at, and then to work with them where they're at. And it's like Dr. Anderson was talking about at our summit, and I wish every single one of you was there because it was really awesome. Talking about win-win scenarios. How can you help people win? Because when they win, you win, right? And working with them with where they're at. So that was a huge shift for me. And I felt like once I made that shift, things started to happen in my business. People started to pop their heads up. People were coming on board, So that was one of the major shifts for me. The other thing that I learned was how to use my energy wisely, because I was burning myself out. Because I'd spend a lot of time trying to, like, even with clients or with some of my coaches, trying to get them, because I see potential in everybody. I think we all do, right? We see they could be this, they could be that. They have so much potential. But if we don't want it internally, it doesn't matter how much we try to inspire them, it's not going to happen. They have to have that internal motivation. We can only raise them up and let them know that we love and are there to support them and want them to do well. But we can't do it for them. And I was trying to do it for people. And I was exhausting myself. And I almost quit as a result because I was that exhausted. Right. So that was the other thing. I started really learning to love people, but just work where they're at and conserve my energy. And so I don't feel burnt out anymore. I'm actually pretty excited, like to work with my business and work with my clients and work with my coaches. Right. The other thing that really helped me was a video that Lauren sent to me maybe a month or so ago. And I can't remember, is it Valentine? The guy who's flipping the deck of cards, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, it was like a huge mind shift for me, because we're all given the same deck of cards. If you think about your business as a deck of cards, we don't know if it's going to be a face card, or if it's going to be a deuce or three or four or an ace or a joker. They are all there though in that deck, but we don't know at what pace or how they're all going to present themselves to us. And I don't want to like make people feel small or anything, but if you think about your business as a deck of cards and all the people that come into your life as part of being that deck, we just don't know who we're going to find. We just have to keep flipping through that deck, which makes it exciting. But then you realize that there are going to be some that take a slower time to rise and need to learn. And then you work with them with where they're at, right? It's all those things together, honestly, have made a huge difference in my business. And not giving up, because when I didn't make the rank the first time, I almost gave up. And because it was all about me. It wasn't about helping other people the way I should have been helping them. So that's really it. It's just keeping it simple like that, loving people, watching your energy and how much you can't do it for them, loving them where they're at, and just keep working with people with where they're at. And that's it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's it. I'd say that's a lot, because you said a lot. Thank you, Michelle. And I hope you heard, like, basically, she stepped into Habit Finders, which, if you have information, if you have questions about that, a lot of people have done some of that training. What that does is it can help us grow. It's personal development and helping us grow. And I spoke on at the event to the national directors and globals and above, and was really, really transparent about my story. I've got 2 clips from that. I'll post them in Coaches Opt for Change. But part of the story was I was transparent. I was extremely selfish at the beginning when I came into this, because everything was about, what do I need in order to achieve the rank that I want? And you might be watching this thinking that, and that's okay. We need to have goals, and we're going to talk about that, setting our vision and then setting the strategic plan. But at the same time, the only way we're going to get there is when we are focused on other people. So the nature of this conference that we were at, it was people that were invited, were executive director and above, was really helping to step into what we call conscious leadership. And conscious leadership becomes when it becomes more than transactional. A transactional business is basically, how many clients do I need? Let me sign them up. Let me do that to get to the money that I need. You know what I mean? And how many executive directors do I need? How many coaches do I need? A transformational conscious leader is one who is standing in a place saying, one, how do I become the best person that I can be so that I can show up and help other people become the best version of themselves and who they can be? It's a very different place to come from, and probably what attracted you to Optavia and why we're all on this call is because we're trying to be better. But that I can't even stress enough. So 2.5 days, I mean, somebody asked me, did you talk about if there are any new fuelings coming out? No. We didn't talk about fuelings. We didn't talk about a price increase. We didn't talk about that because that's not who we are and what we do. We change lives. So we are towards the end going to get to kind of an exercise and a vision that a tool that you can use for your own future. And, we honestly want all of you at these events, and anytime you qualify for an event, I highly encourage you to be there. I know there were some people who really questioned whether or not to go and then made some sacrifices and changes at the last minute to be there. Some people had some health issues and couldn't be there, and that is okay. Life is going to hit us up sometimes it just is. But when we can make it happen, I just from my heart can't stress enough the value of it when we can find a way to make it happen to be there, because of the way it expands our vision, expands what we realize we are capable of, and therefore our ability to impact more people. So before we go any further, I want to have a handful of people share about what they took away from this with a variety of experience levels in terms of what was their expectation and what did they gain from it. So the first is Stephanie Sweeney. Stephanie is a new coach this year, new executive director, first Optavia event you have ever attended. So Stephanie, if you can come off mute and just share with us what you learned from this and how this shifted your vision.
Yes. Well, thank you. Yes, my first event, and I was in the elevator at one point during the event, and I heard other people saying, wow, we can really get down the elevators easily compared to convention with thousands and thousands of coaches. And I, at that moment, was really feeling like, wow, I get this kind of special experience, even though there were over 400 of us there, but it was such an amazing experience. And I would describe it as an awakening. It was as when we go through our health assessments and our focus is awakening those future clients to what their why is, why they truly want to get healthy, whether it's in body or mind. That's what this experience was for me. It was an awakening, and it got to a deeper why of why I became a coach. My vision was completely expanded. And in one of the ways, if I can sum it up, is that we offer in our health assessments, kind of a common theme with this is going back to our health assessments, we offer the gift of health. We know that we're given this gift, and that's why a lot of us have become coaches, to offer this gift of health. And it was a mind shift for me, realizing that the gift of coaching is just as precious and just as needed for so many people, that we can't assume why this gift of coaching would work or is needed, whether it's for them or for us. And like Michelle said, it is not for us, it's for them. And this is a gift that we need to offer. And I learned so many things, but and I also learned some things to stop doing. And I think what I learned to do is just to really to get out of my own way, and become that what they kept all of the great leaders and speakers were alluding to, is that transformational leader, becoming that transformational leader of recognizing what do we want for people rather than from people. And that what I am going to stop doing is stop listening to that person in my head that Dr. A told us all to fire your roommate, fire that roommate. That is that roommate in your head. And those of you who have kids, or maybe you don't have kids and you've seen this movie, Luca, and it's like Silenzio Bruno. So I have chosen Bruno for that person in my head, I guess probably being a Pellegrino is my maiden name in Italian, so I can say Silenzio Bruno. And it kind of illuminates that doubt. And when you illuminate your doubt, you do get out of your own way and realize that how much that we have this gift of coaching to offer to others. And I think that, if we're going to be standing in the future and acting in the now that we hear so much in our Habits of Health book and our life book, and trying to think of what we want to declare for this next year. And, to be, for me, I think it's to fire that inner roommate and to be open, curious, and committed to learning, because there's so much learning that we can do, whether it's from these events or from our team nights, our community nights, and even from our clients and other coaches. There's always learning, and it's just a great way that we can continue with this community. And like Dee said, there was no mention of the fuelings, because we're not coaching a diet plan. We're coaching a transformational health plan, a personal development plan with health benefits. But there was so much, and I'm just really looking forward to the next event and the next event and the next event, and hope to meet other coaches there and learn from you all. So thank you.
That is so good. Thank you, Stephanie. It's awesome to see the shift. I mean, I can feel it and see it in you already from that. And you'll laugh when I share the clip. What I had shared was I didn't have just a roommate. The roommate she's talking about is that negative voice in your head that tells you you can't, you're not enough, whatever your voice said. I said, I didn't have one roommate. I have a whole sorority, and they're mean girls. So that's a lot to turn off. So I can totally relate to that. But also what I'd also shared was the biggest thing I find that keeps people from reaching their next rank is the self-doubt of what can I do it? What's it going to require of me? And the reality is that if we just continue to do the next thing, help the next person, help the next coach, have that next conversation, when you do achieve that next rank, you're there. You've done what it takes. You will be the person you need to be at that point. So trust the process and trust yourself, because we are all capable of achieving what we want. Every single person on this call. Every person. All right, let's move over to Ohio, to Monica Lennon. So Monica, I know you've attended a couple of events, but this was special in terms of having the small group and Dr. A and Dan. So let's hear from you. What might have changed with you?
So first of all, totally starstruck, because to see those people in person that lead us on all of these wonderful trainings and calls, it's just like, it's surreal. So if anybody can go to these events in the future that haven't, I would advise that, because that is super cool. But I think the one thing I took away from this, well, a couple things. I think community and leaning into your mentorship and leaning into each other and all of us is something that I was not doing well. I kind of thought, I was an strong, independent woman, and I'm going to run this business on my own. I got this. And I think after just this amazing community, I just felt it so strongly over the weekend, like just some of our small groups and our special dinners we had, and just the love and support of this team and all of the whole Optavia community is amazing. Like, not a mean bone in the, it's just, you don't see that today. And I think that I walked away thinking about that. Kim Leininger, as you know, coaches with me, and we kind of formed a strong alliance. We slept in the same bed. I'm not gonna lie, we're really close now. So we were sharing a room. So, but we kind of connected and realized that we need each other. So we have jumped in today and reached out to our coaches that we have. We each have a couple of top performers, and then we have some that need some guidance. So we're gonna we're gonna form our own little Ohio posse and try to have some team time and just kind of work through that and form a community. And I think that is what we both need to kind of grow that coaching side. I think learning how important it is to coach and develop coaches. Up until now, I've just been kind of a very client focused, but realizing that blend is really the sweet spot for most of us and how important that is. So we have some exciting things we're working on with that. And I think I kind of let my business slide in full transparency. I think I just was on autopilot, and this has made me realize to get back to, to just what Michelle was saying. I was doing it for the wrong reasons. When I first started, I did it because I wanted to help people and I was excited. And somewhere in that, it switched to rank and dollars. And I think you just do so much better when you speak from your heart and connect with people, and you're there really truly to help them and give them and think of it as a gift. And then it just kind of flows so much more naturally, and it doesn't feel forced and it doesn't feel salesy. It just feels like you're giving your heart. And I think when you do that, people are naturally drawn to that. So that was a big takeaway I had. And I already started today, just reaching out to some of my clients that I hadn't heard from in a while, and changing that up a little bit. So those are some of the things I'm doing differently. Also kicking that voice out of my head that we all have, just putting self-doubt in, like, I can't do it, I don't have time, those type of things. So that's all been really, really good. A couple other things I liked was having a plan. Like, obviously, I'm sort of gonna dig into that. I bought this really, I don't know if you guys have Aldi like around you, but we had this cute book that I got there, and it has these really inspirational sayings, and it's like, you cannot not be organized with this book. There's like stickers and goals. And so I've started to utilize that. I think we all should find tools to find a way to stay focused and make a plan, whatever that looks like for you. Some of us, might be spreadsheets, some of us might be calendars, whatever. But I think having that plan is really gonna be the key to my success. So, but thank you for the opportunity to share. And I loved seeing everybody, and I can't wait to see you all again. So thanks.
Thank you, Monica. It was great. And we were able to spend a little time together. We even talked, Monica's got a great, professional career. And we just talked about, well, could that actually even be replaced by coaching one day? Just had some conversations maybe you hadn't even really thought of before.
Right,
so
right. Yeah.
that was awesome. And the thing about the plan, it's undeniable, guys. You have to have a heart business, HEART, with a CEO mindset if you really want to grow, and you put those two things together, and it's beautiful, beautiful music. Well, at all levels, I attend every event because I learn something at every event, because no matter how long I've been doing this, I'm going to show up with different ears, right? I either need it for me, or I'm going to learn it so that I can bring it to the organization or to my coaches in my front line. So as leaders, we're learning constantly. And sometimes we have some huge epiphanies, aha moments. So I wanted to have Frank Davis. Frank and Shauna are global directors, and Shauna was home with her mom. So when I talked about some life hitting, but Frank was able to attend. So Frank, just let us hear it from your perspective, some things that you learned, about yourself through these past few days.
Yeah. So, like everybody, I can share so much, and it's like the old Grand Canyon analogy. You can go to Grand Canyon, it looks beautiful, you take pictures, and pictures don't compare. And an in-person event just does not compare. But I know life does hit people, and I understand that. And so much was said this weekend from stage. Rick Caterman, who's a very highly successful attorney, said it is the perfect compensation plan. David Miller, who's the husband of Terry Miller, said your business will never outgrow your personal development. Dr. A said leaders energize the culture, and don't act like a leader, but be a leader. But there were great speakers, great talks from a lot of different people. But the biggest impact for me, the biggest takeaway, came from a leader right here, Dee Corchin. Now, she spoke, I think it was Thursday, to the integrated national directors and above. So you have to be integrated national or a global or above to have the privilege to be in that room. And Dee's talk hit me like a brick over top of my head, because as a global, I had worked very hard along with my partner, Shauna, who works just as hard and has probably had a lot more skills and a lot more heart than I do. But Dee said from stage, and I'll quote, "Consistency and hard work will only get you so far," unquote. And I thought, wow, that's so true. And then Dee said, achievers are always covering up a lot of insecurity. And that's where I was. That's exactly where I was. And that's where I've been for a long, long time. See, I found out my hard work and my consistency would get me to a rank or get us to a rank, but I was covering up a lot of insecurities. I was covering up a lot of faults, and I was covering up a lot of junk that Frank had. And I had to be honest with myself. And I have to be honest with my wife. And I have to be honest with our mentorship. So in order for Frank to improve, Frank had to make some changes. And I had to get rid of some junk. And that required being honest with myself. And that requires being honest with my wife and being honest with my mentor, Dee. Of course, Lori, because Lori's in there too. Lori and Dee know of all the junk. And I've been going through counseling and I've been going through therapy and I'm working on myself. Now, I'm not perfect, but Dee said from stage on Thursday, and again, I quote, when you're counseling with your mentorship, get hard feedback. In the last several months, Dee has given me hard feedback. My wife has given me hard feedback. And I'm not perfect. I have a long way to go. But again, Dee said from stage, and I quote, you need to get to a place of surrender and acceptance. Now, I don't know how many people were in the room Thursday afternoon, maybe 200 people. But it was like Dee was talking straight to me. So as a global director, yeah, hard work and consistency got me here. But Shauna and we are about to impact thousands and thousands and thousands of lives. Shauna's a whole lot closer to perfect than I am. And I knew for Frank to change, I had to change and be honest with myself and make those hard choices, which I'm working on. So I thank Dee for that talk. And that was the biggest impact for me this weekend, was her honesty, her vulnerability. And I so much appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Thanks for your honesty, your transparency. You know, it isn't easy to stand up in front of people and say these, you know, sometimes we want to make it look like it's all pretty, but you know what, we're all human beings on this call and we're all fighting the same, demons and past and whatever. But the great thing is that Optavia provides this incredible vehicle that, like I said, we're not growing just a business, we get to grow ourselves as well, which, no better gift than that. We've got one more person. I mean, tonight has been incredible, and I hope to have a minute to be able to show you this document that's going to help us. But Rosen, Bonnie got to attend. So fun to spend some more time with Bonnie. And she stood up in front of Dr. A and Dan in a room of 400 people and committed to what she was going to do. So Bonnie, will you take a minute and share with us? Can you unmute yourself?
Thanks, Dee. Yeah, that was a huge stepping through a door for me, to do that and to declare what I was seeing and where I was going to let the universe take me hand in hand together. And you had asked me to address a few things, and I'll do it as fast as I can with my New York accent and see how far we go. My experience was awesome. I can't add too much more to what has already been shared. I loved being with all of the people there. I loved meeting so many of you in person, and just looking at all the names now in our Zoom, and having had an interaction with all of you. I just feel a wonderful wave coming. So and my experience was really cool because I went there, I had no other team members with me per se, although everybody was on my team. And I just made a decision that I wasn't going to recoil or be shy, so I reached out, I took responsibility, I talked to complete strangers, both within this group and others. And it really paid off. And I even got a great neck massage from one of them. So that was kind of cool. I learned so many things.
Well, Bonnie, you got muted again.
There we go. What did I learn? So much. I mean, I can't condense it in a 30-second presentation, but one thing that's really clear to me, particularly based on everything that's happened to me in my entire life, coming to this moment in time, I'm in the right place. I'm having the opportunity to give what I've gained my whole life from a variety of things and just pay that forward. And, you know, clearly the mission is fantastic, changing my life, changing so many others' lives. So that's really good. And one thing that I really, really learned, which just made me chuckle, is that I finally grokked, those of you who know, if you read that book, A Stranger in a Strange Land, I finally grokked what leading from the future, acting in the now really means. And so my plan, if you will, the actions that are going to take are all really coming out of that context. And so what does that mean? I already blocked off certain times in my Google Calendar at work because I work a full-time job. I blocked off 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon, busy. So nobody can assign a meeting or a conference to me. I'm already working on a reading list because I want to work on this and I want to work on this as well. So I want to feed that aspect of myself so that I can further, and I think Frank, you mentioned it, further self-develop, because this is a journey of self-development with that happens to have a great meal plan with it. So I really want to do that. I want to develop an awareness of my own capabilities to ask a lot of questions. My coaches, my clients, myself. I had a huge breakthrough on my trip home, which was a 15-hour journey from door to door. But I kept questioning things and came to an amazing realization for myself. So questions, and I'm going to implement a lot more of that, but then I'm going to shut up and listen. So, and let's see if there's anything else that I really want to bring out. One last thing I learned what an FIBC is. I had no, you know, when I was at the Atlanta conference, I wrote it down and then I turned to the person next to me and said, what is that? You know, so now at least I know what it is and I can see that it can happen. It's doable. So, so many learnings, so many opportunities to grow and to be of greater value to those around me. Thank you, Dee, for inviting me to share a little something. I really appreciate it.
Well, good. I'm hoping you're seeing the comments. You know, you're such a light, Bonnie. And, you know, just so you know, Bonnie initially said no to coaching. She's a busy professional and, you know, didn't, and now it's radically changing her life. And she's like, hey, I think I'll cut back on that other thing and do more of this. So really is fun. So to see that. What I'm going to share real quick, you guys, I will include the link to this, but what I'm going to challenge each of you to do before the end of the year, I'd really encourage you to do it in the next 2 weeks, is to do this visualization exercise and then to discuss it with your mentor. So what this would really mean is take about 15 minutes for yourself, find a quiet place, take about 15 minutes. And what this is going to do is really have you take a look at where are you today? Where are you in your health? Where are you in your relationships? And where, you know, in your lifestyle? And where are you in your business? And basically describing, what do you want more of? What do you want less of? You know, where is your mindset? And then what do you want to achieve? Right? What do you need to work on? What we want to do is create the vision of what does the next healthier version of you look like, and start to wrap your mind around that, because until you can see it, It doesn't make a lot of sense to put together a map or a strategic plan because we've got to know the target that we're aiming at. And I thought this tool was so great just to take that time to pause and go through it. Many of you guys got this tool while you were there. If you found it valuable, drop it in the comments. But if you were a business mentor, this would be what I would challenge you over like the next 2 weeks to do with your coaches. All right, but do it for you, and then help your coaches go through it. So thank you guys. I will post the link. When I post this recording, I will post the link to that document. Thank you to every single one of our speakers. Thank you and congratulations again to Michelle. Please hop on over to the 8 o'clock client call, which is about navigating the crazy brain. And then at 8:30 is some tips on how to better and how to share this gift of health and coaching. We've got lots of opportunities for you guys to invite people to over the next 2 weeks, and those will be posted in Coaches Opt for Change. So love all of you guys. So great to see those that I could see, and I'll see you in the Facebook group till next week. Okay, bye.